Hi, my name is Brandon, and I'm an alcoholic and addict in recovery. One of the things we hear about in programs of recovery is the need to get out of our own way. You'll hear people say, "I just need to get out of my own way," and that's been my big problem. And a lot of times that I've heard that, I've had a hard time really understanding what it means. But I read a section from Going to Pieces Without Falling Apart by Mark Epstein this morning that sums it up pretty nicely. He says he's talking about the results of some therapy that he went through, and he says, "I started to see that I was most identified with who I was when I was anxious, yet I felt most myself when I could relate unself-consciously. This presented me with a bit of a paradox. Throughout the course of this therapy, I would always arrive at a rather intimidating conclusion. The only way to find out where I was to get out of the way and let myself happen. This makes the process sound too passive, however. Getting out of the way was essential. Dislodging myself from my overindulgence in my thinking mind was a necessary precursor to any kind of satisfying encounter." So I think what I take from this is that a lot of times we get caught up in our thinking minds, and this is not just for people with substance use disorders. This is for anybody. We get caught up in our thinking minds. From centuries ago, Descartes, the philosopher, talked about, "I think, therefore I am." We are thinking creatures. We value thought, and yet sometimes we overindulge. We have this tendency to overindulge in thought, to get into obsessive and compulsive thinking, and that certainly has been one of the challenges that I've had throughout my life, is that the thinking mind, my thinking mind, is a crowded, chaotic mess. And if I get too caught up in there, I have a hard time escaping it, and I have a hard time being actually present in whatever's happening. I end up sitting in my head instead of being where I am. And that, to me, is the problem of getting out of my own way. I get caught up here, and I can't be here. So one of the things that I've had to do in recovery is really, again, work on meditation to help me learn and see when my thinking mind is turning on, and then just be able to observe that happen and then let it go. And that has helped me learn a little bit more about how to stay present in the moment. And so that, for example, when I'm having a conversation with someone, so that I'm engaged with that person and talking to them rather than thinking about what I'm going to say next, or thinking about something else entirely. That used to be my problem, was that, I would be talking to someone and not even really paying attention to what we were talking about. I'd be off in my own little world. And that same thing would happen with anything I was doing, whether it was cooking, whether it was doing a task at work, whether it was playing with my son. Anything I was doing, I would find myself just off in my own little world and not focused on what I was doing. So when I struggle with the idea of what does it really mean to get out of my own way, this spoke to me that part of what it means, and I think there's a lot of different things we can take from that, but part of what it means is to stop letting my own thinking mind prevent me from being in whatever situation I'm in the moment. And that's been one of the challenges that I've had in recovery, is getting proficient at doing that. but it's something that I continue to practice and practice every day, because many of the rewards I've seen in recovery have come from getting out of my own way, being present in what I'm doing, and really fully experiencing those moments rather than being caught up here where I'm only a passive participant in them. That's it for today. I'll be back here tomorrow with more. Have a good one.